Shall we come to order? And
Yes, we can.
there you go.
Thank you.
We have a guest joining us in about 10 minutes. The minutes. September.
These are the minutes from the last meeting.
Hold on just a second, Bruce. Thank you. But Liz,
17th?
of September. Were you gone then?
I don't remember. No, I was not. I was not.
Okay, so we must have those then.
Yeah, I think,
You have those,
I
yeah.
think you sent those out.
I did.
All right, and we have, thanks to Mark, minutes from October 17th, which,
Liz, do you have a question about something in there?
Yeah, there's just one change. Just above zoning, Patrick has two statements that he makes. So it goes Michaela, Bruce, Patrick, Patrick. On the first Patrick, you have talks about examples of things we can do with zoning overhaul that would change the character of the town, that will not change.
Oh, sorry. All right, this is page 2, right at the, kind of the third line down. We can't take on 15 projects because we don't have the bandwidth to do it. We can talk about examples of things we can do with zoning overhaul that would not change the character.
Exactly. That would
I
be.
don't want to put that in Patrick's mouth. They'd really be after him.
that's right.
So it would not change the character of the town. Well done.
We're, excellent, Liz. This is our,
She takes these minutes.
Right, right here.
I don't even see.
Fourth line down, would
That
not
not-
change the character of the town.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Watch it.
Like I said, Patrick's in here a lot. You can tell he talks a lot.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, Patrick, you should see how many times you're in the minutes when you get here. All right, so now Bruce, if you'd like to make a motion, on the 17th, you've circulated those, is that right?
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No,
Bruce
we
in
gotta,
favor.
we gotta do the aye thing.
Calling of the roll.
Yes, calling
Bruce in
the,
favor.
okay.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, Liz.
Jan?
Hi, Jan.
Hi, Mark.
Aye, Randy.
Hi, Michaela.
We did it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I have something I want to, Liz, read in the minutes and I will send to you, is everyone's, Jan brought up that she remembered that her term had expired. And it turns out, Jan, you'll be happy to know this, that the town automatically on June 1st renews everybody on the, who's existing, who wants to stay. So Jan, Michaela, and Bruce were all renewed this year with terms for 2 years to 25. So all three of you are on till 25, and then myself, Liz, Patrick, and Mark. No, Mark, you're on for 25 too. Did
I'll
you
be
know
here.
that?
Not just now, I did.
All right. Well, I don't know whether you got renewed or always were, but
There were staggered terms, I
Liz,
think.
I want to put this in the minutes, so I'll send it to you so that we have a record and we know who has what term. Anyway, it's, so the people who are up for next year, myself, Liz, and Patrick. Everybody else is good until 25. So unless you have any questions about that, the next thing is, I guess, Liz, I don't know, Liz, you want to talk about our two little visits to Pine Woods?
Yes. Sure. We
I know.
met with Kathy and showed her a plan of how it could possibly, how we could move the garden to a more usable space and be able to use another bigger space for the playground. And we've also met with another playground designer who's been approved by the state. And she's coming up with a proposal for us, which we don't have yet. But it was a really good meeting. She's very positive. She's done a lot of work around here and she's done a lot of work, period. That's it in a nutshell. Do you have anything to add?
I'd only say that when we met with Kathy, the property manager, you and I, before you went away, and she, I thought was very positive, the plan, and it's the plan that I showed last time, which is the, basically, we're consolidating the garden and opening up a larger area for the playground, and she thought it was a very good idea. And, oh, while you were away, I met with Joanna, with the Berkshire Botanical Garden, the two chief, it was really great. They brought the two executive directors, the head of horticulture, and the head of, I think, education. And they came to see the project, and they offered their help in advice, not any money, but certainly they have just completed a garden on the, next to the barn, if anybody's
great.
been
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yes, yeah.
It's very nicely done, and I think it's quite a good prototype for
That's great.
whatever that happens,
Yeah.
ultimately happens. So we feel positive. The next steps are, we're waiting for the playground lady to give us a plan. And Joanna is drawing up a plan for consolidating the garden area. And at that point, we will probably seek some more help from the botanical garden. And we have a potential additional funds for the garden area. And the Botanical Garden also suggested an excavator that they've used that they like very, very much. And the town has a potential for another source of funds to fund the garden. So all of that, I think, at this moment are extremely positive news. But we do need to get our act together in terms of the plans, at least the rough plans, and the sense of how much money we really have and how much these things are going to cost before the end of the year. Is that correct, Liz?
Yes.
Okay, any questions about that? Moving right along, Mark, you were gonna, last time you kind of dropped a bombshell on the loss of funds from that community block grant.
Right.
That
right.
didn't come through, and I just wonder if there's any other update.
Well, Michael Canales has worked on this. He's been in touch with the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission about it. And basically, this was a situation where there were 4 towns. 2 towns, including Stockbridge, did not get any of this funding, which was meant for rehabbing houses, you may recall, roofs, windows, furnaces, whatever. So all of the money was allocated. Dalton led the way, and they got some of their funds, but we did not receive any. And the question was, should we have gotten a warning that there was some time running out, and we should try to rustle up some interest in the grant? And we didn't really get that warning. And by the time we got the last word on this, the barn was closed and the money was gone. So Michael was pressing the Regional Planning Council to see if there was anything they could do about it. They basically acknowledged that it had not been handled well, and that they would be making an effort to get additional funds for this same purpose. And Michael also explained that some of the funding was to be made available for compliance with handicap accessibility, and that money might still be available. It's $30,000. And the request he's made is that we be able to use it for the playground at Pinewoods. It requires state approval to redirect the money to that purpose. And I checked with him a few minutes ago. He hadn't gotten an update on that request, but that's pending. I wouldn't want to say it's even 50-50 that it'll happen, but it is a request to try to take that 30,000 that was directed with is it ADA, and those the anyway, the compliance with the handicap situation on buildings. So we may still get some funding to go towards the playground, which would be nice. We wouldn't have to use our funds to do that. So we'll have to wait and see if that works out. In any case, there's going to be a request for more money. At that point, we'll get Smitty involved at the legislature to push it. And maybe there'll be a new block grant program for renovation, but we basically lost out with an acknowledgement that it was not handled properly.
When I spoke to Michael about it a few weeks ago, when he was first talking to them, I thought he said playground to you,
Yeah.
because I thought he had said garden to me, so we should try to clarify that as a way to maybe view the whole project as the playground with a garden component in
All
a
right.
playground.
Well, I heard playground.
You did. Then we better find out for sure.
Yeah.
Because we need money for the garden.
Right, okay, over and above the playground.
Yeah.
In terms of handicap accessibility, I think the more likely to get it for a playground.
Right. So maybe then we could, what's it called? Redirect the other money
Yeah.
to the garden. So those details are actually kind of important.
Well, I'll stay in touch with Michael to see if we get any.
Okay. And what's the agenda for that? Is he's got to push them?
Yeah, he said the planning council is working to bring this about. I don't know that he's talking with anybody in the state level or not. Said that was what they were trying to do,
Okay.
partly to make up for what happened, I think.
All right. Well, that's good news. Is that Patrick? I don't see.
Yeah, I don't,
Just a second. I'm going to call, Michael Gittlemakers is the owner of the property on Route 7 that I think some of you have been able to go see and are at least aware of it. It is for sale. And this gentleman was going to join our meeting by Zoom. I spoke to him.
Yes.
Hi, Mike.
How are you?
Michael, we're ready for you if you.
Okay, I'll join in a second. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, is he going to get on?
Yeah, he's going to get on Zoom and make a presentation to us.
Okay.
Whoops, sorry. About his property and what he envisions. He's got a development plan for it, and he feels that it is well suited. Sorry. He is well suited, it is well suited for affordable housing. So he's interested in talking to us and presenting to us with the idea that we would purchase it from him and use it for affordable housing in Stockbridge. Property is, well, he isn't joined yet, but while he's joining, the property is close to the Lee line, and to get water and sewer, it's my understanding through Tri-Town, we would have to make an arrangement with the town of Lee for their sewage. And I think, can you see it, Mark, on this map that you
Yeah,
handed out?
I'm looking, just going to get oriented for Route 7
Okay.
here.
But this is just our sewage, right?
Yeah, we don't, it doesn't go up there. It doesn't go up that far.
Or
No,
is-
it doesn't go into Lee. You can see Lee on the other side of the broken brown line
At the bottom,
at the
right.
bottom, but,
Yeah, this only goes up a little past the firehouse on 7, it looks like. But certainly not up
Up far enough.
anywhere near Levon. So there's no sewer, and let's see about water.
There, but,
right, but the point is that on Devon Road, the sewer goes, to within 400 feet of the property.
it's a little hard to
So we
understand.
do it.
Patrick, could you
The
call,
Lee Sewer.
can anyone understand what he said?
No.
Nope.
Patrick, your voice is coming through very blurred.
I was saying that the Lee Sewer goes to within 400 feet of the property.
Oh, okay.
Somebody got
So the
that?
Lee Sewer is not too far from this property.
That's what my understanding is, that it's not, it's 300 or 400 feet.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Okay, yeah, here's the Lee Road off of 7.
Okay,
So
that's where their
maybe,
sewer
maybe
is.
their sewer is down here someplace.
Okay. Hopefully, Michael, Patrick, how close are you? Hello?
He must be in Stockbridge. We can't hear him.
I'm about 5 minutes. I'm about 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Devon Road. Well, the sewer goes down Devon Road, which is right across from this property.
Oh, yes, Devon Road. I know where Devon Road is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully Michael Gettelmaker will join us soon. I had asked him to be here at 4:15. Because Patrick has some things he wants to say, but I think it's difficult enough to hear
Yeah.
him.
No,
That it would better that he did that. Anything anybody else would like to talk about so we can get the rest of our,
No, but was I waiting on notes from anyone else? I have about, we were looking at the housing production plans or towards that of any of the other towns, just to kind of gather recent findings. And I know I looked at Sheffield, Jan looked at Great Barrington?
Great
Yeah.
Barrington.
Great Barrington, and Mark, you sent me
I sent Williamstown.
Williamstown. Was anyone else, am I waiting on anyone else, or was anyone else looking at any of the other towns?
I think
I
that was,
wasn't given an assignment.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to double check
yeah, I
that
think
I'm
that
not
was it,
missing
just
anyone.
those 3.
Okay, great,
Yeah.
great. I have those all written up, so I can share those. And they're in a Google Drive, but I can attach them and share them for all of you.
is there anything that stood out in anybody's report that was?
I mean, it's just interesting how each town has its very specific quirks, and there were some commonalities, but, you know, some that are very, very, very different, you know? Like Sheffield actually has quite a bit of space to work with in terms of what they want to, what they could do with it. Whereas, like, you know, that's not necessarily our situation. But I'll send them all to you, just, and I tried to consolidate, and they're fairly easy to read. So I'll email those out to you all, just so you can take a look at them. I don't know, Jan, did you have any, like, responses to any of those from you? Were there any surprises with Great Barrington that you didn't know already?
Well, the only surprise is, well, they don't have a housing production plan,
Right.
but they do have a lot of things going on in
Yeah.
the affordable housing area,
Yeah.
including, I think there are 2 inns that they're in the process of converting into some affordable housing. There's also school in
And what
Housatonic.
about the unit that they built over the Berkshire Co-op? Is that affordable housing, or is that market price?
No, that's market.
That's market.
Okay.
Yeah. And they also have a property also in Housatonic over that's land that would allow for some affordable housing to be built. So they've got 3 or 4 projects in addition to the one just south of Guido's that's,
Oh, there's
Right.
Michael.
Okay.
Oh, good.
I'll email that out to everyone, just so you all.
Michael, we can see that you're on. Can you get a visual? Doesn't seem to get anything except his picture. Michael?
Might be muted.
Michael, are you
Doesn't look
muted?
muted.
Wasn't he trying to bring in 2 other people, though?
He was.
So that might be what he's doing.
Oh,
His little red microphone isn't on, isn't there. He's
There's some-
connecting now to audio.
There you go.
There we go. Great Barrington also has, Jen, that project that they're doing with Habitat. So, and then, well, Construct has the motel. CDC, I think, has done the project across, or well, by the co-op that sits back from the road.
Yeah.
And then they've just opened that one down. There's one on the way to Guido's on the right. I think that's open. So they've certainly been very busy with their local, well, Construct and CDC, isn't it? Are both local.
It's interesting that it doesn't necessarily, like, I guess I'm interested in, are they all, like, how is this, is it a cohesive effort at all of this? Or is it, are these just one-off projects, or what is, like, is there a strategic vision and plan behind all of these, even if there's not a paid-for housing production plan? I'm just interested in how they're deciding.
Hey, would somebody mind opening the main door down the hall?
I'll open it, Patrick. I'll get
Mikhail.
I'll get it. Oh, please.
Please.
Might take you 12.
Don't fight.
Yeah, it might take me 20 minutes, Mark said.
Okay, Patrick, I'm coming.
Okay. Oh, Mark, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Did anybody see the link I sent out for ADUs or mini houses?
Yes.
It's worth taking a look at. It was pretty nice stuff in there.
Did you also see that Maura Healy's? Was that what you sent? Did you send
I
that?
sent out a link to a company that makes prefab ADUs.
Yeah. But Maura Healy's administration has proposed a ADU 900 square feet by right statewide.
Right.
And is waiting for, obviously, legislature to
California. I
pass
think.
through it, and then each town would have their response to that, or like some way of, having feelings about that.
I
But
think that's how ours is written already. I think it's 900, or at least that's what's being proposed. So
yeah,
far.
it's just interesting that that's also what we've been talking so much about it. So it's interesting that's what they're focusing on as well.
They must be
And
listening.
I think they're also adding to it that if, by special permit, you could do up to 1,200 square feet. 900 square feet.
That's getting up there.
Bigger than most startup people lose and get in New York
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
by a factor of 2.
Hey, Patrick.
Okay, do we have Michael?
Mr. Gilman, can you hear us?
No, I think he's.
We see his
Michael?
name.
Yes, we see his name.
He's got no audio.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Michael, where are you?
Hi, Lenny, how are you? I am actually logged in both on my computer and on my phone. I could hear you guys in both places, but for some reason I'm trying to speak in both locations and I
Tell him to hit *6.
All right, hold on, you've got an expert here.
On your phone, hit *6.
Okay, just 1 second. So let me swap over to the other cord and I'll press *6.
Oh, there you
There
go.
you go.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can
Yes.
hear
He's
you.
got to turn off his phone.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Now we need your
Okay, yeah,
picture.
I for some reason my camera is not working either. I'm not sure if
That's all right.
and I can try to share my screen for the document that you asked me, sort of like short presentation on the property.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I can turn on.
All right, Michael, you're on.
Is it set up for him to share his screen? Like, is he?
I can check.
can you see us, Michael?
I can see, yes, I can see everybody and I can hear you. And when I logged in, I could also see everybody and hear you, but for some reason you weren't able to hear me.
we can hear
I
you.
called also. So I'm both on my phone and on my computer.
So under computer at the bottom, you can share screen, it's on.
Uh-huh. For some reason, everything had to go wrong. I got 3 calls right at 4 as I was about to log in, and I also am trying to now navigate and open the file. So it must be. So just one second. Let me try to switch over. Share screen.
How are you?
No, 3 weeks. Can't wait.
Just have them walk us through it. We don't need the slides. We all know the property.
Michael, I think if
Yes.
you, could you start and at least start telling us whatever it is you'd like us to know?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a property that's on the corner of Rattlesnake and Route 7. It's the old Berkshire Theater Festival backlot. And it's 6 acres with 10 buildings on it. There are 3 possibilities for it right now that we are considering. We have a buyer that is working with a federal agency, and they're trying to build something on it. They made us an offer, but we haven't accepted it yet. We have also been thinking of building a luxury development on it. That could be potentially, that could generate a lot of tax dollars for the town. And that could potentially be something between 14 and 20 units of luxury housing that we believe we have the right to build there. And then we were also contacted by the town to figure out if we could sell the property to the town or consider helping the town develop a 40-unit affordable housing project on the land, which is possible. And so it is possible to have all of or most of those buildings removed from the property because we have buyers who would just come and take them for the materials. Most of the buildings on the property, except for the house with a collapsed roof, are in good structural shape. But the big building, for example, does require a lot of significant work to bring it up to code, etc. But it could also be brought down to studs and rebuilt into something new while keeping the old, let's say, structure there. Or it could be completely taken down and then, something brand new could be built on the property as well. So we have not done any plans for the 40 unit development that the town has asked us to consider, but it is possible. We have discussed it with an architect, and we have seen a number of other developers build as many as 70 plus affordable units on a 6-acre lot. So it's possible
6 acres total?
Patrick?
Sorry, go ahead.
Patrick, Michael, excuse me. Patrick just wondered, is 6 acres the total amount of property or is there additional?
No, 6 acres is the total amount, and then there is a piece of land up the hill which connects to a well, which there's a well on the hill if you go up Rattlesnake Mountain Road, and then that well feeds into a couple of large tanks up there on the hill. So it's a large commercial well. I think that's designed to support a few hundred people living on property. And then that runs down to a pump house that distributes the water. So it's a 6-acre lot, plus there's a small piece of land up the hill as well. which comes with it.
And just out of, and so you were talking about how big a luxury development potentially? Just out of curiosity.
Well, so we have considered it. So it is possible to build something like that. It's possible to build a luxury development. It's possible to build a mixed use. So it could be luxury, moderate, and affordable, or it could be built into a moderate, affordable, or all affordable, right? So there's
Right.
three options are there.
No, how many luxury units you mentioned? I just want to make sure I heard that right.
Yeah. So if we were to build by right, we can probably build about 14 units just out of what's there.
And yeah, that's just so you know, that's not correct. So the way that the zoning works in Stockbridge, is that an R2 or R4? R1?
It's a 1 acre. It's a 1 acre zoning. But
right.
From what I understand, the existing houses and structures could be subdivided and conveyed out and rebuilt.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, that's what the attorneys have explained to me.
Right.
But I might be mistaken. I'm not sure.
Good.
And then the 2 acres, which don't have any houses, and then could also be subdivided, and additional homes could be built on those as well. And that could be 2 units, or that could be 3 units if one of them is affordable housing.
Okay, good. Well,
So the 2 acres does not have any buildings on it? And how many buildings?
I think it's about, there are 10 buildings total on the property, including the 32 bedroom, and it would be reasonable to ask for the 32 bedroom to be subdivided into, smaller units, obviously, because it's just too big for any single family. So potentially that could add additional units if we were just going with a regular, let's say, luxury development. But if it's all affordable, then I'm sure that the town can decide whatever it wants.
Is 10 buildings include the larger inn and the building that
It
is?
does.
Okay, and
Yes, it does.
does it include the condemned building also?
It does include the condemned building also. And on the condemned building, it's basically once it's taken down.
Fence around it.
Once it's taken down, you will have like a year to rebuild it, obviously.
And it's a single family, the condemned one?
No.
It's a 4 bedroom. Yeah, it's about 30 by 30 square feet.
Is that the one closest to Route 7?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
inn.
you could when you drive down Route 7, you could see it sort of right behind the 32 bedroom there.
Yeah. That's where they used to house the tech and the apprentices in that house. Yeah.
Did you,
I didn't stay in that house, but there were,
have you stayed on the property?
I've been on the property before because they used to house some of the apprentice artists and technical crews on the property. Yeah.
and they had the Halloween Fright Night there, right?
Yeah, they used to do a lot of things. Yeah.
That's a joke.
Yeah, it was a crazy place. Yeah.
So Michael, we're in the middle of writing a housing production plan, which we should have finished in a couple of months. But, we're going to be sort of figuring out kind of what the overall plan is. And I think what we should do is stay in touch, because obviously there's a lot of interest in possibly doing something up there.
Yeah, I would be happy to help the town in any way I can. The current potential, I mean, we've had a number of people contact us that they, want to purchase the property. It's been tough. If I was, staying in Stockbridge full time, I'll probably have it already, built, but we're just too far away to manage it properly, and we've had some poor management, to say the least. So I'm happy to help. Like I said, we do have a government, an organization. It's a nonprofit that's working with the federal government. They're trying to also build something but I don't think it would be the right fit for Stockbridge. I think it's much better for us to either develop it into something that's luxury and that's of great value, because obviously Stockbridge and Lennox can support that, and that could generate a lot of tax dollars for the town, and of course, welcome a few wealthy new residents into the town, or to develop it into affordable housing, which I think also the area just needs, because we probably get, 50 plus, people contacting us every month trying to rent something. And there's a lot of demand for housing that's just not available.
Yep.
Michael, is your thinking that the inn or slash hotel that's in kind of rough shape would be saved or be taken down?
We can do both. We've estimated both sides. Now, the only difference in the logic there is, do we want the maintenance cost every year to be slightly higher or lower, right? If you build completely new from scratch, you end up with significant savings on monthly maintenance because you don't have to deal with the older structures, etc. However, it is possible to take it down to the studs. It's structurally sound. Like there's no, the attic, for example. I mean, there's no leaks. It's a good structural building. So if you just stripped it down to the studs and probably built it out a little to each side, in each direction. And what I would probably do is I would put the doors on the outside and would build a wraparound porch in all 3 stories so that every room has an entrance going outside. It would drastically reduce fire risk, right? Because now you don't have to go into the hallway. And I would put all the bathrooms and the kitchenettes and the kitchens right into that hallway so that you have to run one line of pipes, and you have an entrance on every floor coming outside, which could be a completely different design. And we've already spoke to an architect. It's very possible and pretty simple to do. So that would allow us to keep the building, but it would look completely different, of course. We would, and again, the question becomes, if you build something completely new, you could build it more ergonomically, so the maintenance would be maybe a little less, etc. But in this case, it really is up to, financially, it's almost the same, right? We have buyers that would come and pretty much take that entire building, the barn and most of the buildings on property apart just for materials and move them somewhere else. So the property could be almost completely empty at almost no cost. So that's going to be up to the architect and the development team. We do have a development team out of New York who are experts at developing affordable housing. And they've developed quite a lot of things across New York, New Jersey, and Massachusetts. And so, we could bring them in to help develop a plan for the property specifically, and to, let's say, figure out how to maximize value and how to build the 40 units that the town is interested in developing in the cheapest possible way. And of course, to make sure that going forward, maintenance and management are inexpensive as well.
Michael, what is you said you're marketing the property now. What is the asking price?
So we have an offer right now. They came in at about 1.8 million.
Sorry,
but they need us to work with them. 1.8. Yeah, they need us to work with them while they're getting their funding from the federal government. We were asking for 1.2 all cash, sort of without contingencies, but they came in with a higher offer just based on the fact that we would have to work with them to get the federal government to give them additional financing. So, we're open to figuring out. If you break this down in terms of costs, we believe we can build somewhere between 14 units, and then if we get the permission to break the 32-bedroom unit, let's say, into another 4 to 8 units, that let's say it's like 20 something units. And then you estimate that the going rate for a lot in Stockbridge is somewhere around 100 to 150,000. Then, it ends up being significantly more. So it could be the same way of thinking about it. On the 40 unit affordable, how much would each such lot cost, kind of, right, to build. And so it comes out quite reasonable in terms of.
Does anyone?
And we're fine. We're also fine. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wondered if Bruce or Liz or Jan, we have three people on Zoom with you, Michael, if you had any questions.
Yeah. So another potential is, we have a development team that could come in and develop it. So if the town wanted us to bring them in, I'm sure there's a way we could potentially invest the property into the development. I just don't know how it works. I'm not an expert at affordable house development, but they are. And so, we could figure out sort of what's available and what's possible. And so, I'll leave it up to the town to decide what the best way of moving forward. I know that you have cash coming in from other projects right now. So, it's probably in your best interest just to buy it and to develop it. But if you do need introductions, I'm happy to introduce the team that we were speaking to potentially to develop it as well. And if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them also. And please feel free to reach out anytime.
So, anybody have any questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, Michael, thank you for joining us, and, thank you for letting us know about this property. We are, likewise, as Patrick said, in the middle of doing what's called a housing production plan, but really it's a plan for the priorities that we see are needed in the town and projects, what the types of projects that we feel should be our top priority in terms of proceeding. So we would like to finish this work, and from that work would then lead us to decisions about what properties we might acquire or may be coming to us. So we'll be happy to get back to you. I guess keep us informed of your progress. And we will continue to think about this and talk about it among ourselves. But I think it's, correct me if anyone disagrees, but I think we're probably not in a position to move forward on anything till we really finish this housing production plan.
Michael, this is Bruce Auerbach calling. This is Bruce Auerbach.
Yes, Bruce, how are you?
What is your timeline for proceeding on this? As Rani said, and we're in the midst of this housing production plan, and we have some work to continue to do on it, and some discussions to have internally as well as with the people in Stockbridge, and want to be sure that that we have your timeline sort of juxtaposed against where we are to know whether or not we're proceeding at a pace that meets your needs, or whether or not we have to accelerate things, or so on and so forth.
So from my perspective, I'm happy to work with you guys, in terms of reasonably whatever time you need. Just let me know, and kind of, I'll make sure to let you know whatever's developing at our end. I know that the group that contacted us, they're pretty aggressive, but they are asking for federal dollars. And also, I find Stockbridge is a magical place. I mean, I love coming up to Stockbridge. I fell in love with the town. And
we
so
all
I'm happy
do.
to help in any way that I can. Yeah. And sadly, New York is keeping me busy, and I do have to come back to the city for work. But whenever I come up to Stockbridge, it's just, I feel like I'm in a place of magic. And I'm very thankful to all of you for, thinking of the people that just need help, because right now, I do agree with you that there is a huge demand, and a lot of people are suffering, and especially multi-generational, right? People that sell off their home and they need just a smaller place.
Yep.
Younger families coming up in Stockbridge, and they just can't find anything. So
Randy, I don't know if you
this
saw, but
type of
Liz has her
development-
hand up.
Did.
Oh,
My question is,
Oh.
with your other buyer, did they give you a time, like an estimate of when they were going to hear back from the government, or they have no idea?
Yeah, they told me they said that within 30 days they're going to have an answer. And then, but the funding wouldn't come in maybe for another 30 to 60 days. So, because from what I understand, the majority of it is private funding from another foundation, but they do have a federal government partner, I guess. I'm not sure which agency they're working with that is coming in. But I think that this would be all, from my perspective, I think what they're trying to do would be all wrong for Stockbridge. So I think we're much better off trying to figure out something that's more in line with the values and what Stockbridge really needs.
did you say, Michael, what the group in Springfield would like to do in terms of a development?
I'm not sure, but from what I understand about their organization, they work with migrant workers, and so I think that what they're doing would be great for Springfield. I don't think it would work in Stockbridge really well, but I think that they're just looking to build wherever they can. It's so difficult to find pretty much anything with the development potential in Western Mass that has jobs available, etc. Right. So I think that just a proper affordable development is probably the easiest and the best use for Stockbridge. The second one would be the luxury development we were considering. I think would also be potentially of high value to Stockbridge, but it's just difficult because it requires a lot more development expertise and funding, and in this market it's a little bit more difficult to do anything as regular development. So the mortgage rates are kind of wild, etc. But it's still a good plan, and what they're trying to do, I think, is not necessarily a good fit, but it's I'm sure it's needed as well. Anybody who's trying to help people is doing good work. So Bruce, to answer your original question, I'm happy to work with the town as for as long as the town needs. Just let me know what your schedule and your timelines are, and we'll work with you to make sure that.
You mentioned.
Again, thank you very much for your openness and your willingness to be flexible and work with us around what we determine to be our needs and what could facilitate and accomplish them. Thank you.
As long as I'm welcomed in Stockbridge anytime I come up and I can have some
always welcome.
The red light in, or yeah. So happy to help in any way that I can.
Okay, Michael.
So, Renee,
just one last question. You mentioned that someone in the town had consulted you. I don't think it was from our group. Who?
I can tell you. I think. Just 1 second. I'll tell you who.
Michael and I talked about
introduction.
Did you call him?
Somebody from the town called me. I think it was one of the selectmen. I apologize.
Yeah, it was me.
Okay. Okay. That selectman is sitting at our table right now. So.
Hi, Michael.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Hi. How are you?
So Michael, to the degree that, just to clarify, obviously our mission here is affordable housing. To the degree that you decide to go in a different direction, we do have a building inspector and a town administrator who could talk to you about if you decide to build the housing that's not affordable or do something else with the property. Really kind of our culture though is that the property owner typically initiates those conversations rather than, I think that the direction you want to go in, you should let us know. And however we can be of assistance, we would welcome that.
That's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, and I think that the affordable development is actually of highest use to Stockbridge. It does make a lot of sense because there is just a huge disconnect right now in terms of families not being able to find a place to live. But on the other hand, you also have a lot of people that can't get nurses, and they can't get people to help them, fix their fence. It's just so difficult because you have to have a mixed community in order to have the best kind of town.
Exactly. That's part of our housing production plan elements.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because it's impossible when you have to pay $80, to $200 for a handyman per hour. Holy cow! It's difficult to live like this.
Anyway, Michael, thank you for taking time to share these things with us. We'll certainly talk among ourselves and as we finish our housing production plan. And as it becomes appropriate, we'll be back in touch.
Yes, thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you so much. Feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Thank you.
Will do.
And also feel free to reach back to us, Michael.
That's great.
Keep us apprised of your other
and
plans.
have a wonderful. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
All right.
You too.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Patrick,
Yeah.
you've got some things you want to share with us?
Yeah, let's, just because I'm dealing with this Novocaine stuff, can we just put that in the next one? It's nothing, urgent. It's more just observation.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to frame it with as few words as possible. One of the key thoughts around the merger of the high school that did not pass, but that is nevertheless going to impact both school districts, is sort of funny, is the idea of decline enrollment. And we're going to have capacity as the sort of organic population, childbearing population declines. We're going to have capacity in the schools that on the margin really doesn't cost us anything to fill, which argues for affordable housing because, if you're going to have decline enrollment and you're only at 50% capacity, you can fill that capacity. It doesn't take an extra teacher to go from 6 in a class to 12 and same thing with classrooms. So the challenge though is going to be that on the operating side of a school district, there's something called foundation enrollment, which is basically a head count, which determines how towns relative to each other get charged for the overall school budget, which is around $30 million. And I think that over the next couple of years, it's going to be really important that West Stockbridge, which just launched a affordable housing trust as we did, along with Greg Barrington, kind of start to think about how we plan together for what our activities are, because while adding, children via affordable or workforce housing doesn't necessarily increase the cost of running the schools, it could drastically change the relative payment of the three towns when it's head count that determines what percentage of that they pay.
Right.
So if we don't build it at the relatively same rate, one of the towns could pay a lot more, another town could pay a lot less. And so I think it's going to be really important for us to get to know as well as we can, especially the Great Barrington West Stockbridge Select Board, so that we can kind, not select boards, affordable housing trust, so that we can be kind of thinking about what overall plans are, because we don't want skewing of the school budget to negatively impact public support for affordable housing. Because basically we've got the capacity, as long as we kind of keep the ratios the same, we can scale it a little bit without increasing the school costs, which are something like 40% of the Stockbridge budget and 70% of the Great Barrington budget. So,
Okay. Wow.
oh yeah, well, 20 million out of the 21 million out of the 30 million they pay, because they've got most of the kids right now.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so that was pretty much it. And sorry for if I'm garbled.
That makes sense.
That's okay.
So do we want any comments on Michael's presentation or his?
Oh,
Oh, I actually had a question, which I just don't have enough knowledge, but, so that property was owned by the theater,
Yes.
correct? And they sold it to
Michael.
his company?
right, I think it was 100 grand.
No.
Yeah.
And then, and his company is now trying to,
Yeah, I think he's looking for options.
okay, I just was
quite-
wondering what the sort of backstory of that was, but.
Bruce, do you have any comments or questions?
I was basically, I love the location. And much as it would be, I know that, the town would really appreciate the tax revenue generated, the additional tax revenue generated by luxury housing. Personally, if I have to line up our need for affordable housing and our need for more luxury housing, the luxury housing, falls way down the list. And I really think that if there's a way for us to, see how to proceed with him and build some significant number of affordable housing units on that parcel, I think that personally, I think that's the direction in which we should head. I think it fits in very well with our housing production plan. It has the ability to add a significant number of units into our mix without necessarily doing anything to change the nature of our beautiful little haven in the Berkshires.
All right.
And opens it up for some of the people that we believe need to have access to housing in the town of Stockbridge. Their support services and so on and so forth. So I kind of like the concept.
I think that we all agree that we need to find locations where we can provide opportunities for joint ventures with developers to provide the kind of housing we'd all like to see. So I think this is a very reasonable opportunity that we should evaluate and should be definitely in our thinking. There may be other opportunities also, Bruce, that we don't know about right now that may provide the opportunity to get that kind of housing. Not that just one location is all we need to think about, but I think we'll have some, at least I believe we'll have some options to consider.
I don't disagree with that. And while I don't think that Michael is using any of this as just a negotiating strategy, I just don't given the fact that he does have other options that seem to be in front of him. And while he says that, he'll work with us and give us the time we need, that sounded like a relatively short time frame of a 30-day window to get his answer from the federal government, and maybe only another 30 to 60 days from that time to when the money would be available. I just don't want to lose, I want us to make a conscious decision that we're not going to pursue this rather than having it taken away from us because he decides that he really needs to go forward with another offer that's been made to him and his company because we're taking too long to make a decision.
I mean, that could happen, but that property's been
Yeah.
for sale for a
Can
while.
can I frame this just a little? I believe he's owned the property for 10 years.
Yeah.
And bear in mind that one of the things he mentioned was taking down the main mansion to the studs. That mansion is full of asbestos, I'm sorry, asbestos and lead paint. And we're talking about easily a high six-figure, low seven-figure just to remediate before you even lay one new board. You said 6 acres?
That's what he said. I thought it was bigger than,
I thought it was a little bigger than that too, but I think it's an R2, not R1.
okay. R1 came from him.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, R1 means 1 acre zoning, R2 means 2 acre zoning. And the only, look, there's some existing dorm-like structures, but those aren't pre-existing non-conforming housing units. They're dorms, and the same problems with all those buildings exist. I actually had a chance to look over the property we did with Berkshire Housing, and they strongly suggested it would need to be raised, R-A-Z-E-D, in terms of being economical. So my sense is that if he has options with a luxury developer in the next 90 days, he can and will and should and most likely will avail himself of that. I think that we're going to look at at least one other property, maybe 2 other properties, including figuring out if we want to do something that he can court. And as you guys pointed out while I was on the phone, we've only got so much bandwidth to do so much. So I feel like we've got options, and the whole point of the housing production plan is to prioritize those options. And I think that we probably should stay to our schedule for doing that. And then whatever opportunities we have, we look at. And if there's an opportunity to build luxury housing and we miss this one, well, we still have a couple other really strong options that we're looking at. So
I don't disagree. And like I said before, I just want to be sure that we make a conscious decision to not pursue something rather than lose out on something that we might still want to make a consideration and be considering. That's all. I want us to make a definitive decision that we're either going to pass on it and let him go forward with his other developer and his luxury housing plan, or that we're going to, consider to evaluate it if it makes sense. I don't disagree that, with what Patrick, with what you presented, that someone had reported to you. I mean, I have been involved in it, as probably many of us have. I know Randy has. When I'm in the Philadelphia area with what my son-in-law does for a living, we all know that, or we all pretty much know that raising older structures and starting from scratch is very frequently far more economical than trying to renovate old buildings, because as soon as you start pulling the sheetrock off and get down to studs, there's all sorts of things that you uncover that you may or may not have expected, and it ends up being a much more expensive project than what you originally thought.
the problem, Bruce, though, the problem here for him is going to be that the only path you have to density in the town of Stockbridge is the cottage area estate bylaw, which is a special permit of the select board. And it is basically a kind of a covenant where if you are able to save the historic structure, we give you more density to trade for that. But the problem here is that structure is in really remarkably terrible shape. And so I don't know what it looks like to try to save a structure to get the density for his, what was he talking about, 16 units of luxury? I mean, I wish him the best of luck. I think that'd be great if you could figure it out.
He said,
Look, I mean,
He
the
suggested
Chabad
14.
rabbi from Pittsfield just ran into the same thing with the property that he bought in downtown Lenox, right near the monument, next to, the Wills and Trust attorney, Paula Almgren's office. He bought that big, a huge cottage era house that he was planning on renovating. And then when he got the developers in and started to look at it, they said, you know what? this is ridiculous. So they raised it and they're now in the process of digging the foundation and building the whole thing up from scratch. Because it's going, as expensive as it's going to be a fraction of what it would have been if they had tried to remodel that existing, 120 or 130-year-old house. So I fully understand that. And, I agree with it wholeheartedly. I just want us to make conscious decisions and not lose out on something that we might have wanted from inactivity. That's all.
Right.
Yep.
Well, okay, so I looked at the notes and the luxury housing would be 14 to 20 units. I also looked up the property card online and it is R1.
Oh, okay, good.
And the other property that he has that he said the water's on is actually 7 acres.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it can be built on.
How many acres is the primary one? 6?
There is 6.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
6.11.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, the one where the well is 7 acres, Liz?
But a lot of that's wetlands over there.
Yeah,
So,
you probably
It
can't
is,
do much
because
with
that's where we're
that.
getting all that water from.
yeah,
Did he say 1.8 million?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He said 1.8, and the
Sorry about that.
according to the assessor's card, I mean, I know there's sometimes valued under a little bit, but the value is 902,600.
Yeah.
And that's with that's with the buildings being worth something.
Yeah.
So is the 1.8 million for the 6 acres or for more than that?
I
And
think it's for all of
The
it.
problem is,
Sounds
You
like
have to have the,
yeah.
water.
I
The
thought I
well
heard him
has to go
say
with the
that the
property.
offer he had was for 1.8, but that they had listed it for 1.2.
Yeah.
It's
I
been
heard the
listed
1.2
It's been
number.
listed a few times in the last few years.
yeah.
It's listed on Facebook for 500,000.
Sorry.
On Marketplace?
It's been on Facebook Marketplace, I think, for quite some time.
Yeah, there's t-shirts too there.
Nobody's paying 300,000 an acre for land, are they?
No, not even in
Maybe on
Stockbridge.
Prospect Hill.
Yeah.
Maybe in Manhattan.
Yeah. All right, excellent. Anything else?
Anybody have anything else? Next meeting is November 20, and that's really going to be focused on the housing production plan.
Yep.
And congratulating Michaela.
I won't be here. Thank you, though.
Michaela will not be here.
Is it triplets?
Oh, God, please. No. But I'll be trying to get some sleep that night.
Bring your baby.
Yeah.
He won't be here till the next day,
Oh, well.
It's a he?
hopefully. Yes, it's another he.
It's another he.
Surrounded by
Okay.
maniacs.
That's it. If anybody else want to add anything, public comments? We don't have much public today.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Move to
Thank
adjourn.
you. Bye,
Second.
We
everybody.
have a movement to adjourn. All those in
Yep.
favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye.
Bye. See you guys soon.
Good to see you.